welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg. This is Bachelor Talks, and today we're discussing Colton's season and the hometown episode. I hate to say it, but this episode was so boring. Normally I look forward to hometowns because like there's some kind of like interesting thing that they do, but like literally every single date was the exact same, and I couldn't believe that it lasted 2 hours. That's what she said. That's what she ain't gonna be saying about Colton. All right, so the episode starts off with yet again another shower scene. Why? I don't know. And then flash forward when we saw a sneak peek of next week's episode, there's what? Another shower scene. So I guess we could have called this the whole entire season Colton takes a shower. At least we know he has good hygiene, so I guess that's a plus, right? So we kick off the hometown dates and we start off with Kaylin, and she lives in a small town, and it was just like I almost couldn't, because we had two like small town country-ish hometowns and then two very like California beach hometowns. So yeah, with Kaylin's, she let Colton know that she was falling fully in love with him, that she just like wasn't falling, like she is legit in love with him. And Colton has reiterated that he is falling in love with her. So we get to meet Kaylin's family, and they seem like really nice people. Her stepdad is basically her dad. That was literally the only like standing out thing in that episode to me. Literally like nothing else happened. So moving on along to Hannah from Alabama. Both of them were from Alabama, which made it even that much more confusing. Moving on to Hannah. So she's down in the South, and I couldn't even deal with these etiquette classes that they had Colton do. There had to be some sort of cheese factor in the episode, and I guess that was it. I thought the whole thing was ridiculous. You could just see like the pained look on his face, like he had no interest in being there. Honestly, I think the only hometown date he enjoyed was Kaylin, and that's just because they got to ride in a carriage and be pulled around by a horse. So he goes to meet Hannah's family, and her family is definitely animated. They definitely have the most personality out of all the families we got to see tonight, which is kind of interesting because I'm sure it's just the editing, but the way that Hannah was edited on this season, she just seems like very like quiet and reserved, and like almost like she's trying to be like perfect. But her family, it just seems like so colorful. So that was kind of fun to see. And then it's also so interesting watching these hometown dates because you have the girl come in and they just look like this beautiful model, and then like the rest of their entire family is just like regular normal people, and it looks like they don't belong with their family. Does anybody else think that, or is that just a thought that I had? But again, Colton repeats himself and tells Hannah that he is falling in love with her too. Hannah seems to think that she has the most physical connection with Colton, which she is up there. She's probably tied up there with Cassie. I think he's a little bit more into Cassie than he is Hannah. However, I can see Hannah making it to the final two. Then we move on to Tayshia's date, and her date was the only interesting one. They jumped out of an airplane, and honestly, I feel like the only bond that they have together is that they're adrenaline junkies. But then it's just funny because Colton was like, now you're making me jump out of an airplane when I didn't even want to bungee jump. So I think it's hilarious that the producers are just like, even The Bachelor's not even into like some of these dates or most of these dates that they did in foreign countries, but they still have to go along with it anyway. So yeah, they bond over doing stuff that they don't want to do. And I feel like in this episode, we really got to see more of their chemistry, because before I was kind of like, where is their chemistry at? I can see them having a really good connection. In this episode, I really like Tayshia a lot. Like I've just been liking her more and more the last couple of episodes. I wouldn't mind her being the Bachelorette either. So I'll get into that towards the end of the video. And then finally we have Cassie's hometown, and they go surfing, and Colton just makes an ass out of himself surfing, which honestly would be me if I was trying to surf. And out of all of the dads this is where they're all the same. They all meet the families, the moms and sisters took the girl away. Colton had to sit down and have an awkward conversation with the dad and be like, hey, I don't know you, I've been dating your daughter like 2 months, but it's cool if I marry her, right? Like, I need that. And then he kept saying, I need their blessing or else I can't move on with them. But it's also like, they don't know you. Like, they're just trying to be nice. And like all of them were like, well, you seem like a nice guy, so okay. Cassie's dad was not having it, and I feel like the level of difficulty with dads like varied like in the episode. Like it went from like, oh, okay, yeah, and then Tayshia's dad showed some resistance. He actually said, no, you don't have my blessing, but then turned it around in the end and said, yeah, actually you seem nice enough, so sure. And then now we have Cassie's dad that every single season there's always that one dad that just looks like he's shooting like darts out of his eyes or daggers, and he's just mean mugging Colton so bad. He just looks like he wants to murder him. And he seems very protective over Cassie. And Cassie in this episode, I think her age really came out for her being a 23-year-old. She was just kind of like, gosh, dad, like, I just want to do it. Like, if I want to marry him, just let me marry him, okay? Like, that just was kind of her attitude, which is pretty typical of a 23-year-old. But on the other hand, you have Hannah, and she is definitely a more mature 23-year-old compared to Cassie, if that makes sense. And Cassie is the only one that has not said that she's falling in love with him. She seems very scared to say how she's actually feeling. I feel like she has feelings for him, and that's it. I don't think she's falling in love with him. I'm not sure if she can actually be in love with him, and she's unsure herself, so I feel like that's why she's like not giving the producers anything, not giving anything to us. She's just, I don't want to say I'm in love unless if I actually am. So the fact that she won't even say that she's starting to fall in love is a big red flag to me. It just makes me question her feelings for him, which is understandable. This is like such a time crunch, and it's such a wild experience, so like I don't blame her. But at the same time, Colton tells her, I'm falling in love with you, and he is getting pissy because he's not getting his way, and Cassie is probably the one that he wants to hear that from the most, and she's not giving it to him. So, you know, in typical fashion, he is really hung up on the girl that's playing hard to get. Dad also was not a fan of Colton either, and was like, I'm not giving you my blessing. So yeah, Cassie's hometown date was a huge disaster for Colton, and you can tell he's pissed. He did not even kiss her goodbye. He did not. Like with Tayshia, he kept saying one more, like a million times. Every single girl he kissed before he got back in the limo. With Cassie, he was just like, bye. So at this point in the episode, it was basically like watching the same 4 dates over and over again. Like there literally wasn't much to say here. But at this point, Colton, he's in trouble, okay? Everybody says that, you know, as a bachelor or bachelorette, production says you can't say that you love somebody. If you want to say that you're falling for them, like they say it's okay, but it's also a big no-no. And Colton's in trouble. He literally told all 4 girls he's falling in love with them, which is just like, I would just wanted to like shake him and be like, what are you doing? You're setting yourself up for disaster. The note that I have about Kaylin is that things seem too picture perfect, and I think that that just comes from her being a beauty pageant, and I will get into more of that in just a second because it is time for the rose ceremony where he sends Kaylin home. And it's like, is this a pattern for Colton? Like, I feel like this is typical human patterns, right? Like, you want to play the game, you want to have the chase, but then it's like, is that all that he is? Like, is Colton just about the chase? Because if you take it back to Tia, he was very into her until she was ready to commit to him, and then he couldn't do it and said he wasn't ready for commitment. He didn't have those feelings for her, but then it's like he just wanted the chase of her, and he liked the idea of trying to get her. Flash forward to beauty pageant Hannah, when she went to go meet his parents and all of that, the last episode, she said that she was falling in love with him, and then she said that she was in love with him. She's the first girl to say that she's in love with Colton, and what does he do? He sends her home. Kaylin is the second girl to say that she's in love with him, and what does he do? he sends her home. So he has women that are in the process that actually have feelings for him, and he is just like, bye. So that is just kind of a red flag to me and just makes me nervous for how the end of the show is going to even go or how it's going to be. But with Caitlyn, she seemed upset, and I'm sure she was, and I don't want to like discredit her feelings, but just the way she was talking and the words she was using and how she was saying them in the limo, it just seemed like the typical I'm gonna be the next bachelorette pick me speech that we got from her. It seemed like she was trying like almost too hard to just give that speech. And I didn't like it. Like, I don't know about how I feel with her being the next bachelorette. Maybe there was truth into what Tayshia was saying about her and Cassie talking about how they're gonna play this thing to be the next bachelorette. And now I can kind of see it, because before I was unsure. It was like she said this, she said that. But watching Caitlyn's exit interview, it made me think a little bit. So what did you think of Caitlyn's exit? Would you want to see her as the next bachelorette? So for me, if it doesn't work out with Tayshia, right now I could see from this season, I could see Beauty Pageant Hannah as somebody that I wouldn't mind as the next bachelorette. I think she would keep things interesting. And Tayshia also seems like she has a really fun personality, and I think she could make a good bachelorette too. And there was news swirling around from the producer of the show, or like the creator of the show, and he's trying to get Khloe Kardashian to be the next bachelorette. A lot of people have opinions on the Kardashians. I actually don't mind them. I'm not like a hater of them or anything, but I don't want to see them on TV. Like, there's just something that would be so weird about that, and I feel like the process would be way too hard, because how do you know that they're not just trying to use it for fame? You know what I mean? So hopefully that doesn't work out. It seemed like Khloe was like, no, I am not doing that show. I am not going on it. So that made me happy, but I just thought it was odd that he was, I mean, I guess it would be like a ratings boost, right? But there's no way that they would have a Kardashian be on The Bachelorette. Anyways, moving along. Also, if you watch the challenge on MTV, Johnny Bananas has been on all these nighttime interviews saying that he wants to be the Bachelor, and I would watch it because I would just be so fascinated to see what that would be like, but like, I don't know how I feel about that either. What are your thoughts about somebody from a different reality TV show being the next Bachelor or Bachelorette? I would love to hear from you. And let's go ahead and talk about predictions. I don't have any spoilers or anything. It's been pretty drama free. The last couple of episodes, nobody really seems to be talking about any tea. So if you have any, leave it in the comments down below. Unless you know how the show ends. I don't want to know. My viewers don't want to know, so keep that information to yourself. So Fantasy Suite is next week, and I think that's gonna be interesting because like all three of them are like, we're gonna do it. Like, they all think that they're going to, they're all ready to jump Colton's bones, so to say. However, I don't think that he is going to have sex with all three of them. I think that he's going to have sex with maybe one, maybe two of them. And from the previews, we see Colton's really upset. We see that Cassie's really upset, but things aren't always what they seem. They want to make it seem like something goes down between Cassie and Colton, which it very much could. I think that whomever he decides to be the most intimate with maybe has second thoughts and decides to leave, and that's why he's so upset, because I feel like whoever he's going to be intimate with, or like who he's going to have sex with, is going to be somebody that he's definitely going to want to propose to. So that's a theory in my mind. What do you think next week is going to be like? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Check out my other videos right here. And if you're into beauty stuff, be sure to hit the subscribe button, because that is other videos I put out on my channel. I'm actually doing a decluttering series right now, so if you're into those, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.